This man's day turned into a nightmare, all because of his choice of road. His dashcam shows the moment when he got caught in the midst of a mafia gunfight. Luckily, he escaped unharmed, but you could hear the sound of the bullets doing damage on the car.
Вы что, дурачки чи що? Ай! Попали. Давай. Куди ставай? Ай, мене попав. Куда, Вань? Давай я за руль сідаю.
In the North Caucasus Federal District, Russian police conducted a special operation to arrest members of a kidnapping and extortion gang. During a routine traffic stop, officers captured the suspects, but the gang's leader managed to escape. The other members now face up to 15 years in prison.
Все, работаем!
Работаем!
In the video, a highway robber is seen attempting to make away with a van, captured by a witness's dash cam. It was later revealed that the robber, a member of a notorious gang, had hijacked the vehicle, which led to the confrontation. Despite efforts by bystanders to help, the robber remained dangerous. Eventually, the robber drove off, leaving the victims stranded with their damaged van. Ironically, his stolen car was also left in a damaged state. Here are clips of one of the deadly days in the life of Colombians, as some rival cartels took the street of Colombia, sorting out their clash in a very heinous and deadly way. The footage shows the aftermath of the chaotic clash. In one of the clips, a great explosion from a burning vehicle sent a massive fireball into the air. It caused a fatal and widespread destruction. The blast was so powerful that it hurt people, damaged buildings and debris everywhere. In another clip, sounds of gunfire and explosions filled the air. Streets were desolate, and Colombian authorities could be seen moving from one area to another to restore order. A very chaotic experience for witnesses and viewers of this horror battle.
Mira, se robaron hasta patrulla de guachos.
Some cartel group members came in contact with narcotic militants in their hideout. The encounter was as both groups exchanged shootings. Loaded in their trucks, the militants drive through the camp looking for the suspects. However, some of the suspects could be seen hiding behind the building so as not to get caught. In another encounter with some cartel group in a mountain region, Mexican security forces found themselves in a fierce battle against some armed cartel members. The confrontation took place in a remote area of the mountains, where the cartel had possibly established a stronghold. Using tactical training methods, the force was able to control the raging battle as the shooting subsided after a while of exchanging bullets.
Allá va. No sé. Chéqueme ahí, chéqueme ahí. ¿Ah? Ahí está, agostapado, güey. Yo le tiré allá, güey.
Body camera footage shows a wild shootout between Albuquerque police and an unknown gunman. The officers engaged in gunfire with the suspect who ran from the scene after getting shot. The intense exchange of gunfire went on for several minutes, with multiple shots ringing out as the officers pursued the suspect.
Who's shooting?
PD 718 700. That's fine.
My man, come here, police department, come here. Show me your hands. Show me your hands.
Watching the dramatic shootout, the officers could be heard shouting commands and warnings while trying all they could to apprehend the criminal disturbing the peace of the neighborhood.
Where's it coming from? My man, come here, police department, come here. Show me your hands. Back to me. Get the He's running southbound. Over here. Cisco. Police department!
Pablo, southward and south.
Where'd he go?
Outside a quiet car park, a white van sat unnoticed until the doors suddenly burst open, and police officers quickly seized 3 suspects. These men were central figures in an illegal arms trafficking ring. On February 27, 2024, in Kuga, Russia's FSB launched a major operation. Officers confiscated an arsenal, including 15 machine guns, 10 pistols, a rifle, and a machine gun. They also recovered over 100 weapon parts, 9 explosive devices, 3.5 kilograms of explosives, and extremist literature. Additionally, a secret lab and workshop used for making and upgrading weapons were shut down, dismantling a dangerous operation. In 2013, a very dangerous Russian criminal escaped from detention, and his escape was captured by CCTV cameras. The man was in a tall building, probably on the highest floor, but he had a plan and made a rope.
В Москве предстанут перед судом бывшие сотрудники следственного изолятора «Матросская тишина». По версии следствия, именно по их вине в мае...
He climbed out the window with his makeshift rope and gently lowered himself to a certain height before jumping into the compound.
В вине в мае этого года из СИЗО сбежал опасный преступник. В распоряжении нашей программы оказались кадры побега. Их просмотрел Иван Зоев.
Эти кадры показываются впервые. Запись, сделанная камерами видеонаблюдения, установленными на фасаде следственного изолятора номер 1, иначе «Матросской тишины». Вот в кадре появляется веревка, следом по ней спускается человек. Этот мужчина в черной шапке и перчатках. В одной руке он держит покрывало. Вот он опирается ногами на оконную решетку. В какой-то момент поворачивается лицом к камере. Вот этот кадр. Нет сомнений, что мужчина на видео, сбежавший в начале мая из изолятора «Матросская тишина», заключенный Олег Топалов. В распоряжении нашей программы оказалось полное видео этого...
Then, with the composure of an owner, he walked into the offices where a policeman saw him but didn't recognize him as a detainee. The prisoner casually walked through the door and to the front of the premises before leaving altogether.
Вот Топалов бросает одеяло вниз на колючую проволоку, оглядывается по сторонам и, убедившись, что никто его не видит, прыгает на забор. Потом, уверенно и словно не замечая охранника, проходит через КПП, расположенного по соседству трамвайного депо. На свободе Олег Топалов пробыл чуть более суток. Его задержали в Москве в Измайловском парке. После завели уголовное дело в отношении сотрудников СИЗО, ответственных за содержание под стражей подозреваемых.
В ходе ненадлежащего исполнения Добрыниным, Синяковским и Платоновым своих обязанностей вследствие небрежного и недобросовестного отношения к службе, отсутствие бдительности по несению службы, содержащийся под стражей в камере следственного изолятора Олег Топалов совершил побег.
Вот то самое КПП, видеокамеры которого запечатлели беглеца. Непонятно, почему охранники не сообщили в полицию о появлении Топалова, который отличался...
Two senior members of rival mafia gangs chased in Moscow when the traffic was slow. Verbal argument quickly turned into a fistfight and grappling, and before long a gun appeared. Thankfully, no shot was fired.
Парень, спокойно.
Dashcam captured this footage of a road rage showing a suspected mafia member leaving his Mercedes to hit the other driver. But then this happened. He's lucky the mafia man didn't pull out a gun. It's not advised to exchange blows with just anyone in Russia. "42-year-old rebel boss, Alexander Zakharchenko, stepped into this Ukrainian cafe with his bodyguard after pulling up in exotic cars, and then this happened. No one knows who planted the bomb, but the men didn't last more than a few seconds before being blown apart."
Эти кадры еще не видел никто, кроме экспертов. Камеры наблюдения кафе «Сепаратист» беспристрастно фиксируют последние секунды жизни главы Донецкой Народной Республики. Вот подъезжает его кортеж. Охрана осматривает периметр. Первым в заведение входит один из телохранителей, чтобы проверить зал. Только после этого в тамбур идет Александр Захарченко и следом еще один охранник. Тут же раздается взрыв. Александр Захарченко обычно сразу проходил вот в этот угол, где уже горела печка-буржуйка, можно сразу было попить горячего чаю, а еще на его столе всегда стояла табличка «Стол заминирован».
Surveillance camera captured this gripping footage where a group of people were sitting on the subway. Two people suspiciously sat apart from the rest. Then a man walked up to them, but wasn't given even a second to think before a kick landed on him, followed by the cold nuzzle of a pistol. The two men were apparently members of a mafia family. In late December 2018, Russian authorities targeted a criminal gang involved in illegal activities. Military officers arrested a notorious gang leader during a surprise operation while he was en route to a family dinner. The arrest further led to the discovery of illegal firearms, money, and evidence at an apartment linked to the gang.
Чисто.
Ничего не видел, ответ нет. Акцизный, честный.
On the first day of 2018, chaos erupted on the M5 highway near Ulyanovsk. Traffic was halted abruptly as police staged an accident to apprehend mafia suspects. The operation, captured on a truck's dash cam, showed the suspects being swiftly arrested after a carefully planned maneuver.
Я не вижу снов. Вот почему. На кухне прохладно, там всегда открыта форточка. Встаю у окна, закуриваю, смотрю в ночь. Удачи, Балу. Удачи, Дэн. Чтобы все было хорошо. Удачи, Дэн. Удачи. Удачи. Балу, это не...
On a chilly November night, a gang struck a power tool store in Zapia, their fifth break-in that month. They swiftly stole valuable tools and a laptop, causing significant loss for the business owners. Despite ongoing police efforts, the gang managed to stay out of reach, evading capture at every turn. In this terrifying video, a ferocious mafia was messed with in traffic, and it was a sorry case. As the man got back into his sports car, a man suddenly ran after him and sprayed pepper spray on him.
Улучшай отношения с разными фракциями, чтобы получить доступ к новым технологиям. Если ты играешь с друзьями, то вместе вы можете...
Infuriated, he came out holding a rifle and shot at his attacker. The camera recorded how the bullet hit the windscreen of the vehicle with the dash cam, which captured the whole moment.
Собрать непобедимого составного робота. На карте мира ты найдешь любое задание, бои с другими игроками, королевскую битву, сражения с огромными боссами или сюжетный режим. Также в игре постоянно проходят особые ивенты. Прокачай Battle Pass, чтобы открывать новые детали и чертежи. Качай Crossout бесплатно по ссылке в описании и получайте все. Все, пиздец, попал в ролик.
While soldiers were on standby in one of the Mexican Special Forces bases, suddenly, the sound of sunshots was heard, prompting the officers to take immediate cover. The gunshot grew louder and more intense, revealing how under attack they are. Surprisingly, they wouldn't know who has attacked them and from which angle the shooting is coming from. Captured in this footage is a shocking shooting spree moment at a gas station in Memphis, Tennessee. The scene, caught by a CCTV camera, revealed how the chaotic scene unfolds as gangmen exchange gunfire near the gas pumps. At first, a white Mercedes-Benz vehicle drove into the station, making some suspicious turns around the station. After a 360 turning, the vehicle was halted, and the occupants trooped out of the car one after another, still moving suspiciously. In what looks like an organized setting, the gangsters split as soon as they got out of the vehicle. One entered the building, the other to another angle, and the last one was refilling the car. Not long after, some indistinct chatter kept the men on their toes, sensing danger. In a few seconds, gunshots were fired at them, creating tension as everyone ran to take cover. The gunshots kept unleashing, putting them in a difficult situation, unable to run back to the car and escape immediately. After a while, the shooting stopped and the gangsters escaped. What you see here is a gathering of mafia bosses, a very dangerous place to be in, but they're not alone or unprotected. These crime lords are gathering right under the protection of the Russian police itself. Well, that's just a twist in the narrative. Shouldn't the police be doing the exact opposite? Police in Russia say one of the main figures in the country's organized crime community has been gunned down in Moscow. Aslan Usoyan controlled a criminal group which trafficked drugs and weapons and ran clandestine businesses. The 75-year-old was killed by a single shot.
Police in Russia say one of the main figures in the country's organized crime community has been gunned down in Moscow. Aslan Usoyan controlled a criminal group which trafficked drugs and weapons and ran clandestine businesses. The 75-year-old was killed by a single shot.
This footage shows the interior of what looks like an office space. In the video, we see three people either agitated or supposedly going about their businesses until this happened. A group of people in black stormed the place, and a deadly brawl broke out between them and the three men. Whatever caused this gang war must have been real serious. This footage shows two rival Russian gangs clashing with each other on the street. The fight is very uneven, though, because one group is less in numbers by far, and here's the result. The lesser group lost in a matter of seconds, and the winners celebrated their victory right on the spot. This brawl escalated rather quickly. The footage initially shows one man knocked to the ground by a member of a rival gang, but a door-long chaos erupted, leading to many more knockouts. In this terrifying video, Marines raided a property with guns and grenades to capture a notorious cartel lord, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. They were hinted about the hidden apartment of Joaquin, who had been on the run for a while, and thus embarked on a night operation to arrest him.
This is the moment Marines raided a property in Mexico, leading to the arrest of the most wanted drug lord in the world. After 6 months of searching, this shootout resulted in the capture of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
On their arrival, it was a moment of open fire as they unleashed a hail of bullets on the house. The sound of gunfire and explosions filled the air, creating a chaotic and intense atmosphere.
The video released by the Mexican government shows Marines finally making their way into the building after firing several shots and detonating grenades.
the battle raged on. The army gained access into the apartment after a while of relentless bombardment and gunfire to gain entrance. By the time they got in, Joaquin has escaped through a secret door behind a mirror. However, some people found in the room were arrested. The body cam of one of the Marines captured the whole fierce and intense firefight moment.
Images show Marines going upstairs into a bedroom, where it turns out Guzman escaped through a secret doorway hidden behind a mirror and descended into a sophisticated tunnel leading to the city's drains. Finally, Marines can be heard asking a crying woman where he is. She replies that she does not know. By the time the operation is completed, Guzman and 6 of his men are in custody. 5 more are dead. All of them members of the notorious Sinaloa cartel. Before he was caught, Guzman spent hours below ground as his henchmen sought to lure Marines up towards the roof of the house he had been holed up in. As rain started to fill the drains, Guzman eventually emerged from a manhole near a gas station a mile across town and stole a car at gunpoint. As he tried to flee in the getaway vehicle, police spotted him speeding along a highway outside of the city, and he was caught by authorities who detained him in a nearby budget motel.
Imagine encountering this convoy of heavily armed and armored vehicles, thinking they are a special force of the U.S. Army. Little do you know, you've just stumbled upon the notorious Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, one of the most powerful and feared drug cartels in the whole world. As captured in camera, a fleet of customized trucks, SUVs, and armored tanks are parked on the dusty road with CJNG logos on them. Clad in gear and masks also are the armed men with their ride guns and assault rifles. They could be heard making intimidating noises while shooting in the air sporadically. The CJNG convoy is an intimidating sight, posed to strike fear into the hearts of rival cartels and anyone who dares to cross their path. If you ever come across them, look very well before you react. This footage reveals the moment Mexican security forces bursted into a drug cartel hideout. The cartel members were caught off guard, and as a result, about 42 of the henchmen were killed during the firefight. It was a fierce battle, as gunshots kept resounding sporadically.
42 suspected drug cartel henchmen were killed by Mexican security forces yesterday in one of the bloodiest shootouts in a decade of gang violence. One policeman also lost his life in the 3-hour gunfight on a ranch in Tanuato near the Jalisco state border. Officials say the gunfight began when security forces, alerted to an invasion of the ranch, approached the property and were fired upon by a group of armed men. Most of those killed are believed to have been members of Jalisco New Generation, one of the area's most powerful drug cartels, responsible for the deaths of more than 24 police officers since March.
The security forces had superior firepower, hence the cartel members were overwhelmed. However, a federal police officer reportedly lost his life in the shootout. Consequently, a large quantity of illicit drugs, cash and weapons were recovered from the gang. The federal government vowed to continue with this operation to put a total end to the existence of crime in the country.
Mexico's National Security Commission Director, Monte Alejandro Rubito, told a press conference his team recovered 36 long-armed rifles, 2 handguns, 1 active grenade launcher, 1 caliber .50 rifle, and an undetermined number of ammunition. Yesterday's death toll was one of the heaviest to hit Mexico since President Enrique Peña Nieto took office in December 2012. He's pledged to put an end to years of gangland violence that have claimed more than 100,000 lives since 2007 alone.
In late October 2019, an unsettling incident took place at a toll booth on the Rostov-Chota highway, a vital route connecting Moscow to southern Russia. Late at night, 3 female toll booth operators were on shift when 2 masked robbers stormed in. One of them smashed the booth's glass window with a hammer, causing the operators to flee in shock. The robbers emptied the safes, but before leaving they did this. They spilled gasoline inside and set the booth ablaze, causing widespread destruction. This next footage is the very definition of chaos. It's a clash between 2 rival gangs. Multiple shots rang in the air as the gangs exchanged gunfire, showing the seriousness of the situation. It took an armed military to bring the pandemonium to a stop.
Массовая драка и перестрелка с участием бывших членов ЧВК «Вагнер» случилась прямо под окнами жилого дома в Челябинске. По данным 74.ru и базы, конфликт начался из-за девушки, предположительно, дочери одного из бывших членов ЧВК. На опубликованных кадрах видно, как одна группа мужчин, часть из которых в камуфляже, избивает нескольких парней. Затем появляется еще одна группа мужчин, которая открывает стрельбу из травматических пистолетов, и участники драки начинают убегать. Управление Следственного комитета по Челябинской области возбудило уголовное дело о хулиганстве. После драки нескольким ее участникам потребовалась помощь медиков, а улицы Челябинска сейчас патрулируют усиленные отряды Росгвардии.
a heavy clash broke out between some cartel militants and security forces in the Sinaloa city of Culiacan in retaliation to the arrest of Ovidio Guzman, the son of the notorious cartel lord El Chapo. It was a night of unrest and widespread chaos as the city of Culiacan was desolate. Residents were forced to take shelter indoors as the clashes raged on in the air. The night wore on. The violence showed no sign of abating. The military aircraft sent sporadic shoots down on the cartel forces on the ground while the clashes raged on. In a disheartening scene, some lifeless bodies were retrieved from an overpass during a cartel violence encounter. Forensic experts and emergency responders arrived at the scene and made efforts to retrieve the bodies. The victims were just unfortunate to be caught up in the crossfire between two rival cartel factions, struggling for power and control, the Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation cartels. The incident sent shockwaves to the entire community. Reportedly, cartels make displays of bodies like this to taunt their rivals or authorities, and even to terrify the local residents. This video revealed the moment a Colombian Navy intercepted the largest cartel-manufactured cocaine submarine and seized a large number of packages of its cargo. The illegal vessel is as long as some military submarines. The Navy's vessel closed in on the submarine and the personnel boarded it only to discover packages of hard drugs, carefully stacked and concealed within the vessel's hull. The cargo vessels were seized with all the illegal packages therein. In a tense standoff, police closed in on a notorious gang known for a series of robberies and break-ins. The body cam footage reveals the officers' focused approach as they reached the suspect's door. Inside, the suspects had barricaded themselves, refusing to comply with repeated commands, heightening the tension with each passing second.
Открываем дверь, национальная полиция!
After several failed attempts to negotiate, the door was forcefully broken down with a loud bang from the battering ram. Instead of charging in, the officers calmly ordered the suspects to surrender one by one. Armed with weapons like a grenade launcher and pistols, the criminals were quickly taken into custody. Surveillance footage from a shop in Russia captured a tense moment. Two robbers who had previously escaped a police operation were unknowingly being followed. As soon as they entered the store, two undercover officers swiftly moved in and apprehended them, making the arrest quick and efficient. In 2019, Andrei Ashov, leader of the Kurganskaya organized criminal group, was arrested in Krasnoyarsk, Russia, for allegedly murdering a man.
Пошла курва отсюда, я ж тебе объяснил, Пошли отсюда все, мне дверь выбить.
This footage shows him going hysterical, visibly losing his cool and trying to force his way out, albeit unsuccessfully. Witnesses reported that he fatally shot the victim while the man was riding his bike. The intense scene of his arrest left a lasting impression on many.
Снимайте мне ебу, что делаете? Пошла нахуй отсюда, курва ебаная, сказала, ты дура тоже ловиться. Вы меня вымораживаете или что? Пошли отсюда, твари, я же вам сказал, никаких с вами общений не будет. Да вы можете? Пошла.
A regular day for this store clerk turned into a nightmare when 3 gang members stormed the store with serious-looking guns. The clerk respectfully kept to himself as the men robbed the place of valuables, meaning the crime scene with a blue bag. Near the Three Cat shopping center in Astrakhan, a tense scene unfolded. 4 men, their faces pressed against the ground, were surrounded by police officers. This wasn't just another arrest. The Criminal Investigation Department, with the support of the elite Grom unit, had been silently tracking these local extortionists. Their victim, a 21-year-old student, had been terrorized for 5 months. The criminals had threatened to expose damaging secrets, forcing the student to pay 200,000 rubles. However, as the next extortion attempt was about to unfold, detectives intervened, bringing justice to the situation.
За что задержан? Не знаю. Громче, за что задержан? Не знаю. Что здесь делал?
Я просто с другом приехал.
С каким?
С Нуриком.
А эти кто такие?
Ну это знакомый мой.
А что лежишь на полу?
Ну, я просто стоял здесь.
А лежишь зачем?
Я не знаю, но полицию я ничего не делал.
Чайник подними свой. Чем занимаешься здесь?
Не знаю еще.
Число месяца тоже.
30.01.1999.
Почему задержан?
Не знаю. Сейчас.
Деньги брал?
Деньги? Нет.
Вымогательство?
Нет.
Кто брал?
Не знаю, я не брал в руки. В руки ни разу не брал.
Деньги вымогал?
Деньги вымогал.
In December 2018, a jewelry shop was targeted in a daylight robbery. 2 men, one of whom was a security employee at the store, executed the heist with precision. Their heist was successful as they left the place unscathed, but they were later apprehended, and their involvement shocked the local community.
Девочки, разуты на кнопочку ничего не нажимают. Встали быстренько, встали. Ручки вверх. Ручки вверх, отвернулись к стене. Ключики от ящика железные где? Нет ключей. Нет ключей?
On the 21st of February 2020, two explorers were on vacation in Mexico to seek adventure and, of course, relax. One day, while on a birdwatch touring a rural road, an unfortunate and unforgettable event unfolded, which scares them to the bone marrow.
These birdwatchers expected a quiet vacation taking photos of tropical wildlife.
Logan and Aaron were driving through the rugged trail when their vehicle was suddenly overtaken by some armed men believed to be part of the Mexican cartel.
Oh my God, they have guns. Jesus.
Go.
No, please, what? Please. Please, what?
At first, the cartel's vehicle was noticed from the rear, giving some uneasiness. The reckless and speed drive kept the men nervous, but continued their journey, thinking they were also adventurers like them.
Yeah, this was definitely my first trip to Mexico and my first trip out of the country. I was there to see birds and experience the scenery and wildlife that they have there, and we did a lot of it.
Mexico has a lot to offer. There's a lot. There's deserts, there's mountains, there's oceans. It depends on what part of Mexico you're in. We saw a lot of incredible stuff in Mexico.
There's another car coming up behind us.
What way should I go? Straight or right? That's not right.
I guess straight.
I don't know either.
Just pick one.
I'm gonna pick straight. Bike on this road, so there must be civilization somewhere over here.
Looks like there's a town up here, or a little village.
The car behind us is kind of scaring me how fast they're going.
I know, they're going quick. It's not scaring me.
It's scaring me because what if they're speeding up on us to rob us or something?
My God. They probably just drove this road lots of times.
Suddenly, the approaching vehicle overtook and the armed men jumped down, surrounding their car. At first, Aaron attempted to reverse the vehicle, but it was a risky one, hence he halted.
Oh my God, they have guns.
Gunmen leap out.
Jesus.
Go.
No, please.
Faced with terrifying reality at gunpoint, Logan and Aaron couldn't but try making appeals not to be hurt. The tension was high that the two men almost passed out. However, the gangmen decided to let them go after a series of questions about their journey. The wildlife photographers were told not to continue with their journey but head back home. Luckily, they were not hurt and thankfully appreciate the kindness of the cartel members.
Well, I typically am optimistic, and when it was approaching us, I was trying to tell myself that maybe it's just a vehicle that has drove this road several times and they're just in a hurry. And so I told Aaron to pull over for them so they could pass us because they were coming up on us pretty quickly.
When I realized that our lives were at risk, and I actually really started, oh, well, this is the end. My life is over. It was as they were passing me, I look over and I see them in the back of the car or the back of the truck with their guns hanging out, and then when, like, my heart just dropped, and I saw them jump out of the vehicle and come towards me, and I still remember to this day seeing down the barrel of one of their guns. I just looked down the barrel of his gun, and I felt like my life was over. My life was going to end.
This footage shows what would have been a deadly confrontation between the Russian police and a mafia family. Fortunately, nothing happened except that the police officer zoomed off, leaving his colleague behind. This footage from 2018 captured the moment a mafia leader met to the end of the road. Police dashcam showed how the military trapped the mafia boss's car in the middle of two other vehicles, and armed men immediately rushed to apprehend him. Messing with a mafia member is the most ill-advised thing to do in Russia. This civilian was this close to having his head blown off by a bullet when he decided to stand up to a mafia member in a road rage.
Улучшай отношения с разными фракциями, чтобы получить доступ к новым технологиям. Если ты играешь с друзьями, то вместе вы можете собрать непобедимого составного робота. На карте мира ты найдешь любое задание, бои с другими игроками, королевскую битву, сражения с огромными боссами или сюжетный режим. Также в игре постоянно проходят особые ивенты. Прокачай Battle Pass, чтобы открывать новые детали и чертежи. Качай Crossout бесплатно по ссылке в описании и получайте все, пиздец, попал в ролик.
Video footage reveals intense chase during a gun battle amongst a cartel group and the military in the northeastern state of Tamaulipas, near the border. The chase winds through the street at midnight as the two groups clash in a bid for control. The sound of gunfire and screeching tires fill the air. Afterwards, it was reported that it was the Mexican Army's 16th Motorized Cavalry Convoy which met with fire by members of an Inferno troop, a hit squad noted to be tied to the Northeast Cartel. The gun battle took place on a road in the Nuevo Laredo neighborhood of Fresnos, a 10-mile drive from the Juarez-Lincoln International Bridge, which connects the United States and Mexico over the Rio Grande. No casualties or injuries were reported, even though it was a warlike battle. A surveillance video showing how a group of masked suspects exchanged gunfire with another set of people outside a gas station in West Charlotte was released online. The video revealed the men moving out of the station building one after another unarmed, staying by their cars parked by the gas pumps. Out of nowhere, the sound of gunfire was heard, and the men quickly took cover, retrieved their handguns, and began returning the fire. To avoid the hail of fire, the men dodged behind their vehicles. The battle continued for a while before the gangsters were able to flee the scene in their vehicles. Leaked police body cam footage showed a terrifying scene of how Mexican officers were ambushed by a cartel attack. The ambush occurred in the Mexican border state of Chihuahua. Notwithstanding, while the cartel caught the police off guard, the officers were able to quickly fire back, shooting with assault rifles and using their vehicles for cover. It's unclear which branch of the cartel staged the ambush, but the shootouts are not unusual in Mexico. Since 2006, when the government declared war on organized crime, more than 200,000 people have been killed or abducted. This surveillance footage was recorded when two wanted criminals stormed a convenience store in Oxon Hill, MD. The two men alighted from their red sports car and entered the store swiftly and kind of deliberate. Entering the shop, the men's faces were partially covered in masks, but their menacing behavior was unmistakable. At first, they walked around the mall, their movement getting suspicious. However, after a while of what looks like eternity watching out, the men brought out their rifles and attacked someone whom it seems they've trailed there.